Hello Scorpio and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your recent past or current energy and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Scorpio, we're going to start with looking at overall energy for this reading through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. But first, for the overall theme of this reading, let's see what we have. Let's see what we're going to be talking about today in this reading for Scorpio. You have Stormy here. Divine Feminine with protection. I feel like there might be one more. Oh. Release. Okay. I feel like you guys have been going through a lot for a while. And not in the sense that like everything has sucked. I mean, maybe for some of you that could be the case, but I just feel like this. I mean, it feels like this stormy kind of energy has been really following you around. Now, this release card is definitely this indication. It's like something that either has been or needs to be cut loose from your life because of divine protection. Now, when it comes to this divine feminine energy, I feel like this is, we all have divine masculine and feminine energies within us. And to me, divine feminine, I mean, there's so many aspects to it, but one of the main aspects about it is opening yourself up to receive, your highest good, what is in alignment with you and your highest good. And a lot of times, when we are embracing kind of the divine feminine energy, it is a lot about faith and trusting that, the universe has our back, that we are heavily supported and guided, and that everything is working out for our highest good, even if we're not 100% sure of like what that really looks like and what that means. So I don't necessarily know like the story, but I feel like the context is that, you're going through kind of a difficult period, but divine protection is at play. A lot of times rejection is protection. Redirection can be protection. When things aren't working out, or like it feels like things aren't working out, a lot of times they are working out better than we might be able to fully understand at the time. And I think that that's where learning to, and going back to that divine feminine energy, like learning to trust the process, learning to have faith in where we're headed, like that's what's so important here. Okay, let's dive into this a little bit more. So we're going to start with looking at this recent past energy. So let's see what you guys have been going through. What has Scorpio been dealing with? Interesting. A win-win outcome is forecast. A time for healing. And then you have this emotions are running high on the bottom here, but I'm going to take one more. You and your loved ones are safe. And then again, emotions are running high. So I feel like, and this is the period that I feel like you've been dealing with. And with this, a win-win outcome is forecast. I feel like there's been kind of this like karmic imbalance in your life, meaning that, certain situations aren't fully aligning with like what it is that you really deserve, what it is you're really capable of, things of that nature. And I feel like I don't necessarily know what happened, but something happened that kind of threw you into a healing period. But this healing period was almost like the word that comes to mind is like getting you back on track. But a lot of times, getting back on track isn't about ever really being lost, but more so realizing what like our potential is, or what it is that we ultimately desire, getting, taking our power back from settling or accepting less than what we deserve, or whatever the case might be. This energy feels really chaotic. Not necessarily that you are the chaotic energy at play, but I feel like there's just a lot of things in your life that maybe have felt very unpredictable or unsafe in some way. With this, you and your loved ones are safe card, and this emotions running high card kind of feels like things have really been all over the place. But I feel like you're in this period of things kind of like coming back into balance in some way. And it keeps coming back to what I feel with that a win-win outcome is forecast card, like some sort of karmic balance. Current energy for Scorpio. The answers you need are coming. Prosperity lies ahead. Expect powerful change. Withhold your vision. So again, whatever happened back here, it felt like there was some sort of divine protection that threw you into this time for healing. And now you're in this in-between phase of like waiting for things to change for the better. A lot of times we feel very lost, but we're not lost at all. It's like we feel like, things aren't working out, but they're actually working out in a way we can't understand. We feel like we're behind, but we're actually further ahead than we might think. We feel like we're lacking all these things, or like things aren't, progressing in the way that we want, but the pieces are all falling into place in some way. That's what this energy feels like. With this answers you need are coming card, this prosperity lies ahead. I feel like this is about don't jump to conclusions about your reality right now. Sometimes when we lose a relationship, we jump to the conclusion of, I'm going to be alone forever. Or when we stumble or hit obstacles or challenges, we jump to the conclusion of, this is as good as life is ever going to get. Like, I'm never going to be able to make it to where I want to go. Don't allow, certain things that are happening in your life right now trick you into believing that, like, this is your limit. Like, this is as good as things are going to get. Because I feel like you're on the path to things getting better here, but at the same time I feel like it's going to require you to, going back to that divine feminine energy, to open up to faith, to trusting yourself, to trusting your deservingness, to trusting that the universe has your back, which I know can be hard, especially because divine protection can sometimes feel a lot like things are falling apart. It can feel a lot like loss. It can feel a lot like grief. It can feel a lot like essentially just not being where you want to be. It can feel a lot like not being protected. But a lot of times we're protected in ways we can't fully understand in the moment. I feel like we're going to get more on that as we look at tarot. But what does Scorpio need to know about this future energy here? Oh, goodness. It's time to release negativity. Meditate and contemplate. The energy is gaining momentum with again, hold your vision. So what I kind of feel here is taking like a few steps back to go like 1,000 steps forward. I feel like this period that you've been in has felt maybe like taking steps backwards. But these steps backwards are actually creating a foundation for something different, for something better, for something much more aligned and sustainable. But it's requiring you to let go of certain things that are keeping you from that alignment, which is going back to this release card. Because again, karmic imbalance, right? So I feel like this is essentially things moving toward this vision that you have, but in a different way than you expected. And I think that that's where you're needing to kind of let go a little bit of what you think has to happen and how you think things need to look like, which is really hard. But that's what always opens us up to receive the most, is when we're willing to trust that, wherever life is taking us, as long as we're willing to show up, knowing we're worthy, knowing we're deserving, knowing we're supported, like it's going to take us exactly where we want to be. But at the same time, I also feel like There's a need to also like hold on to what you desire, but loosely. So what I mean by that is like, you know, you might think you really want this relationship, but what you're really looking for is the love you want that to provide you, right? The companionship, the partnership. You might think you really, really want this specific job to work out, but maybe you're looking for success and financial freedom, and it's going to come in a way that's a little bit different. Because it feels like you're being put on some sort of more aligned path, like being taken off of a path that doesn't fully align with what it is that's capable of being what it is you desire. I said that kind of weird. Like wherever you were headed or whatever you were trying to make work, or wherever this path was, like this wasn't capable of being whatever it is you had your vision set on. Your vision, your mind set on to be your vision too. So I don't know. Let's just see. I feel like I'm saying things really confusing. But honestly, I feel like we have a little bit further to go before we can really tie all these energies together. So bear with me, please. All right, Scorpio. Let's look at this past energy for you guys. What has Scorpio been dealing with? I mean, literally, Three of Swords in reverse, which is all about healing again. So there's been a lot of healing taking place in your energy, a lot of doing the inner work, which is incredible because, yeah, that is ultimately going to lead you to better spaces. But there's more to it than that. There's literally Justice in reverse, karmic imbalance. I said that. This is funny because I feel like this card, A Time for Healing, and then Win-Win Outcome is Forecast. I feel like these two cards literally are confirming that. Okay, so with that being said, it's just interesting that there's this like doubling down on this message coming through. The Seven of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles. Nine of Swords. Okay, so there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of worry about what's ahead of you, where you're going. Yeah, literally with the Chariot, about where you're going. And I think that, you know, that's part of why life is so complicated sometimes, because it's like we pray for the things that we want, right? We pray for the love that we desire. We pray for the abundance that we want. We pray for the friendships that we deserve. And then all of a sudden it feels like we're losing a bunch of things. It feels like we're losing friends, and we're struggling financially, and we're being pushed into different places, and we sit there and we go, I thought I was asking for more. I thought I was asking for more love and more abundance, and the universe is like, exactly. Because where you're at isn't capable of being what it is that you're asking for. You know, the universe is always leading us toward our highest good, but when we're in the middle of the journey of being led to our highest good, it doesn't always feel like that. And a lot of times we sit there and we question, is this even worth it? We're deep in the unknown. We're experiencing a lot of loss. We're having to do a lot of healing. It just feels like it keeps coming. And we sit there and we go, wait, I don't know if this is what I really want. You know, we start to crave that predictability and that familiarity that we're stepping away from. And that's where we have to understand, you know, the big question is, do we actually want to go back to what we had? Or are we just craving having what we can predict? And if that's the case, are we willing to really, really commit to the belief that we're worthy and deserving of more? Because that space of in between, there's almost this like emptiness. It's this emptiness of not having the things that you want, not having the things that you desire, but also not settling for the bare minimum just to have something. That space is where real spiritual growth takes place, because that's when you really stand in your power and you say, yes, things feel uncertain. Yes, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I know that I'm being supported. I know I'm being guided. I know that I'm worthy and deserving of more. And I feel like that's kind of this the period that you're in now, but what this all was kind of leading you to, because karmic imbalance is a lot about, because karma isn't a punishment. It's teaching us who we really are and what our potential really is. And a lot of times what that means is when we accept less than what we deserve, that's a karmic situation, because in that moment we are saying, this is all that I'm worth. This is as good as things can get. And then through that situation, things kind of suck. And the universe is teaching us, actually, we're worthy and deserving of more. So I feel like you've been on like this huge journey that I don't even know if you're really aware of that you've been on. But it's all coming together in a way, like, especially with the Three of Pentacles, it's all coming together in a way that will make complete sense when you get to where you're going. So I feel like there's been a lot of maybe second guessing, a lot of questioning, your path at all, wondering if you're on the right path. I get all the time. I think that, when we go through enough struggles and we experience not having what we want, sometimes we start to tell ourselves, well, maybe this is just the life I'm meant to live. This is my path in this lifetime. My path is being alone. My path is struggling financially. My path is suffering. But if we tell ourselves that that is our path, then yeah, we're going to find ourselves in those exact same situations. So when we start to ask for more, when we start to ask for the universe to provide us with the things that we desire, we have to also be willing to lose what doesn't align with that. It's like kind of that when you ask for flowers, when you pray for flowers, don't be surprised when it starts to rain kind of thing. So what does Scorpio need to know right now? Prosperity lies ahead. The answers you need are coming. So you're feeling a little lost in the unknown, lost in the in-between. This is the powerful part. This is where it all happens. Because most people, when they're in that in-between, when things are overwhelming, when they don't have the things that they've prayed for, when things, still feel uncertain, that's where most people give up. That's where most people go back to the familiar and the predictable and the less than what they deserve, because it's like, well, I'd rather have this than nothing at all. So, it's interesting because you have the Six of Swords in reverse. There's this energy of feeling very stuck. But I almost feel like the universe is trying to tell you that you're not stuck at all. You're in the in-between. And the in-between is where it goes back to what I just said, where it all happens. Because when you're in the in-between, when you know that you can't settle for less, but you also know that you don't have what it is that you want, you have a choice. You have two choices, really. You can either lean on and believe in your fear, or you can lean on and believe in your faith. And the interesting thing about that is that both require blind faith. Both require to believe in something that you aren't 100% sure of, right? So you can believe in your fear, you can believe that everything is falling apart and nothing's going to align and you're never going to have what you want, or you can believe that that it's all working out, that you're being fully supported. And whatever you lean on the most, whatever belief you lean on, whatever actions that you take that align with that belief is going to be what you create. So the in-between is where it happens, because that's where your power lies. It's almost like the universe wipes our slate clean. It's like, okay, if this isn't what you deserve, or this isn't what you want, and you want more, it's like, prove it in a way. And not in a testing kind of way. The universe isn't biased. It merely just responds to our energy. It responds to how we show up. It responds to the energy we put out. It responds to what we believe. So you feel stuck because things feel unpredictable. But just because things are unpredictable doesn't mean that you're not in the right, like you're not exactly where you're supposed to be. Because with this Eight of Pentacles, I feel like you are still putting in the work. You are still showing up. And that's going to pay off at the end of the day. So what does Scorpio need to know moving forward? You're in the in-between. In the in-between and right before. Like, that's kind of what I'm hearing. In the in-between and right before it happens. What does Scorpio need to know moving forward? No, most people give up right before it happens. Most people give up on themselves, on their path, on the belief. Two of Wands with the Nine of Pentacles. Well, that's pretty awesome. the Three of Pentacles, and I said that. I said the Three of Pentacles, it's like this feeling of it's all falling into place. And I feel like the reason that this is coming out is because that's exactly what I feel is happening. It's like you're being set up for the pieces just fall into place effortlessly. And you might not have any clue what that's going to look like. You might not have any clue where you're even headed. But that's a good thing. Sometimes being really lost allows ourselves to find our path. When we just walk a path for the sake of having a path, when it's predictable, when it's certain, when it's, what we're used to, we're going to end up in the same experiences over and over. But when we're willing to step outside of that predictability, to be in the unknown, to be in the in-between, and to show up for the life that we deserve, even if we're not 100% sure of it, that's what blind faith is all about. And that faith will lead you to the things that you desire. I mean, it's literally Two of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. This is alignment with what it is that you desire. Nine of Pentacles being all about wish fulfillment. And then Three of Pentacles to me is like, it's like domino effect. It's like it all falls into place. Like the pieces fall right into place exactly how they're supposed to for your vision to align. But it might be different than you expect. And that's why you don't need to have all of the answers, because there's a lot in this world that's out of our control, but we can control a hell of a lot more than we think. It's not about controlling what's happening around us. It's not about controlling that person or controlling a situation. It's about responding from a place of knowing your worth, knowing what you're deserving of, and accepting nothing less. And if we're willing to do that, yes, there's a period of in between, but that will eventually lead us to where we're meant to go, where we're meant to be. So I feel like this is just confirmation of like, yes, you're on the right path. Yes, it's going to all align. It just, you need to keep going, keep showing up. You're in the period of release, of, letting things fall apart before they fall back together, which can be, it's not an easy place to be. It's an incredibly scary place to be, but it's only scary because our ego prefers what it can control, and it can't control anything in the unknown. And our ego hates not being able to control anything. So I feel like you should be excited about where you're headed, not afraid. And I don't say that in the sense of like, just don't be afraid, because I know it's not easy. Like personally, someone who struggles with anxiety and hasn't struggled with anxiety my whole life, it's easy to lean on that anxiety because it's what I'm so used to. I'm so used to expecting the worst. I don't feel like you need to expect the worst. I feel like you can expect the best. All right. We're going to hop on over to the extended, looking at what you need to do right now in order to align further with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Scorpio, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Bye, Scorpio.